I think it's probably one of the best movies that's came out all year. I know there hasn't been too many to begin with, but this might be the movie of the year in my opinion. Welcome back to another episode of In the Streets podcast, where we take a deep dive into everything sports, music, movies, fashion, culture, and the nightlife. This is your host, Chris, aka MTZ the GOAT. Y'all can go ahead and follow me on Instagram at MTZ the GOAT. You already know I'm on my way to 1,000 followers. Haven't hit it yet. Let's go, guys. Come on, let me just hit this milestone. I'm like at 965, something around there. So I want to go ahead and hit 1,000 followers already. So y'all can go ahead and hit me out. That would be awesome. But don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening to this on either Spotify or Apple, y'all go ahead and download and subscribe to the podcast. This episode, I wanted to take it back a little bit. You know, nothing too crazy. I'm saving the next episode. I'm gonna have big plans. I'm gonna have a guest. I know y'all been waiting for that. I'm finally gonna have somebody here on the channel. And Rolling Stones just released a list of the top 200 hip hop albums that ever released. So we're gonna be debating that, whether we agree, disagree, what we think should be number one, we should think to be at least top 10. And then we'll break down the list. We'll see what we like about it, which one should be ranked higher, which one should be ranked lower, things like that. So we're going to go over we won't go over the whole list, but we're going to go ahead and give our opinions on what we think of the list. As you can see, I got my mic back. I didn't have it for a little while, so I finally got it back if you're watching this. So it feels good. This is not the permanent setup yet. We're still getting there. We're still preparing, getting it ready. But eventually, I'm going to have it ready. I'm going to say within the next month or so. We're just moving things little by little, but we eventually will get there. And once we do have our main set, that's when we'll really start amping it up, really have guests, upload more content. So you guys be ready for that once we have everything set up. But on this episode, there's a couple topics I wanted to get into, but nothing too crazy. But before we start that, you already know what time it is. It's that time of the episode where we go over what's that fit. I use this segment to show you what I'm wearing for the day or what I'm wearing for this episode. So today I went a little bit more casual, nothing too crazy. I want something where a little bit more accessible for y'all to obtain. On the feet, I have the Joe Freshgood New Balances that just came out, the 2002 R. It's a super comfortable shoe. People sleep on New Balances. They say it's more of like a dad shoe, but this style I like a little bit more. So it's a majority cream color throughout the shoe with the little hints of brown and a little bit of cream with the gum bottom. For the pants, I went with the Target. I guess black cargos from Target. They're more athletic wear. They have a little zipper on the side. They're pretty dope. Not too expensive, $25-$35. You can just go ahead and grab them at Target. They have like a brown color. I'm wearing the black or like a smoke gray. And they have like a lighter gray color. And then for the tee, I just have a George tee from Walmart, a brown. I saw this the other day. I just picked it up. You always need to have these essential tees, or there's a solid tees where you can just throw on at any time. So I have a whole bunch of different colors. So when I saw this brown one, I was like, yeah, let me just go ahead and get it. They're only like $3 to $5 at Walmart. But you can get just these essential tees anywhere. All brands have them nowadays. I know Banana Republic has some really nice ones. You can just throw these on for anything. So I always have a whole bunch of these just in case. On top is going to be the Don Life hat, Big Sean. Yeah, I've seen this one before. One of my favorites. I wear this all the time. But it's something light today, nothing too crazy. Just wanted to, show y'all what a regular day looks like in my life. But with that being said, let's get right into the episode. I recently saw a couple of movies. I know last time we talked about the Batman movie, and we had a whole review, a whole discussion on that. This time around, I saw Doctor Strange, which was a couple months ago. Pretty dope. I liked it. It's just amping it up for what Marvel has next after Avengers. So now they're just showing us the new phase and what can we expect from the new Marvel universe. So it was pretty exciting. If you haven't seen it already, you should go watch it. Especially if you're a Marvel fan, I'm sure you already seen it. But if you're not, it's still entertaining. It's a bit scary, not like horror scary, but it's pretty suspenseful, and it's a different twist. It's a darker twist to what Marvel has usually gone through. So I definitely recommend it, and it's cool. I like the way they put the movie together and the whole multiverse. it's a wide range of things that they can do now. They just open the gates. So I think that's what this movie was a setup for that. So that way they could prepare for the multiverse. Another movie that I recently saw, and this one's pretty old, not super old, but it's pretty old, was the Entourage movie. So I recently went back. I know I saw a few episodes of Entourage show back when it came out, but I was like, you know what, let me go back and watch it again, get a little bit of refresher and see what it was really about. Now I can understand it, because when it first came out I was pretty young, so now I can a little bit understand it a little bit more. And I can honestly say Entourage is probably one of my favorite shows that I've ever seen. So the way they put it together, I know it's loosely based on Mark Wahlberg and how he came up with his crew, with his entourage and things like that. But the way they set up the characters, the way they set up the show is just, I can watch that show forever. I was a little bummed out that they finished after 8 seasons. So I ran through it within like a month or two. I saw all of them. And I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop watching it. It's just so entertaining. The way they put things together, when it came to actors, were famous people, and then they had different there's an episode for sneakerheads. There's one for fashion. So there's all kinds of different things. So if you haven't seen it, the moral of the show is based on a character named Vinny Chase. And he's an actor who blew up after a couple gigs, and he took off, and then he surrounded himself with his two best friends, and then his older brother. So that's what the entourage was. So he had his friend E, which is his manager, his other friend Turtle, which is like basically his chauffeur. And then his older brother was Johnny Chase, and he was just like he was an actor as well, but he was one of the like side actors where he didn't get as many gigs, where he was the one that was on TV shows and not so much movies. But that's just the crew that followed him everywhere he went. He didn't move without having his team by him. So it just shows you what he went through with his agent. He has an agent, Ari Gold. And most of these characters are based off real people in real life. But the way they just put everything together was dope. So I recently saw that movie, the Entourage movie. That one, it was like after the season finished, it was like maybe like 3-5 years later they made the movie. So it wasn't right away. So I guess they're like, you know what, we can just do this one final thing together. And I mean, they decided to do one last project for the Entourage franchise. And it was just like an extended episode of how the season ended. It was pretty dope. There's a lot of cameos, a lot of athletes, a lot of actors, different things like that throughout the movie, which was pretty cool. And I thought it was dope. But if you didn't watch the show, you probably wouldn't understand as much. But it's just like I said, an extended episode from when the season ended, so it was pretty cool to watch it. Last but not least, I recently just saw this movie. It was on Tuesday. It just came out too, like last week. And that movie is Top Gun. So here in our office, where I work, we usually like to do fun activities where we like to go out, or like team activities and things like that. So we usually, every so often, every month or so, we go to the movies. So we decided to go watch Top Gun. So I know the movie came out back in the 80s. It was one of Tom Cruise's first movies where he blew up after this, and that's kind of what took off his career. But I never saw it. I heard about it. I knew the basics of it. I didn't know like too many details, but I just knew that Tom Cruise was in it, and it was one of the most popular movies back in the 80s, along with it was more like a Rocky type of movie. So like he has one hero, and he goes and wins. But I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and watch the first one before I go and watch this, because the new Top Gun that just came out is part 2 basically. So I was like, you know what, let me go watch part 1 before I go watch part 2, just so I can have some kind of sense of what's going on. And I saw part 1, and I was like, you know what, this is pretty cool. It's a pretty good movie. Part 1 is a little bit more lovey-dovey, sweetheart, a guy fell in love, things like that. So I was like, it was a little bit sweet. But I was like, you know what, let me go watch part 2 and see what this is about. And I can tell you hands down, part 2 is probably like 10 to 20 times better than part 1. It's just jam-packed with action. It's a feel-good story. If it's just something that it just puts you in a good mood. So it was one of the best movies I've seen in a long time, outside of anything that has to do with like Marvel or anything comic related. So anything outside of that, I think is probably one of the best movies that's came out all year. I know there hasn't been too many to begin with, but this might be the movie of the year in my opinion. And it's just a movie that I recommend everybody to go watch. Even if you didn't watch part 1, you can still watch part 2 and kind of get the gist of everything. and it's just dope. It's a lot of action. It's a good acting, and just the way they put it together was awesome. I like I said, one of my favorite movies, and I'm probably gonna watch it again this weekend or something because it was just that good. So I recommend to go watch it for sure. And let me know what y'all think of it. Did y'all like it? Did y'all not like it? If you went to go see it, if you haven't gone to see it, I recommend to go and just do it, get it over with. That's it on when it comes to movies. That's what I've been watching lately. I'm watching a couple of TV shows here. The new season for All Americans, so I just started watching that. So I'm excited to watch that again. I've been following it throughout the whole time, so that's pretty cool. And a couple other things. So recently in the shoe community, in the sneaker community. So as y'all know, I'm big into the sneaker game, big into the shoe game, and I love my shoes. But one thing I refuse to do is pay resale. So I can probably say I've probably paid resale for maybe 2 shoes, if that. So I don't pay anything that's outside of retail. I'll do trades. Like I'll trade something that I have for something else and things like that. But when it comes to buying resale shoes, I'm not for it at all. I mean, I'm not against it. I get people can get once people get their hands on certain shoes, they know the value of it, and I'm all for it. There's a lot of people out there making a lot of money, so I don't knock it. I'm not gonna say I'm not a fan of it because I've sold shoes here and there too. Not to make money. I knew I was gonna make money, but I didn't buy the shoe to go and make money. I just happened to buy the shoe, didn't like it, sold it for more money than I bought it for. That's just how the game goes, supply and demand, and that's with anything. So if anything is limited, people are gonna buy it up and they're gonna sell it for whatever they think it's worth or whatever the people are willing to pay for it. So I can't be mad at it, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna go out there and buy these things that are way over market or way over retail. So the whole reason why I stay away from buying from resale as well, I never know if the shoe's real or not. Unless you're like a professional, you know how to check shoes and things like that, you're not going to know if the shoe's real. So in order to save myself, I just don't even bother buying shoes that are resale. But recently Nike called out StockX for selling fake. So, I mean, there's a lot of debate back and forth. The reason why they called them out is because people have been receiving fake shoes, and what StockX is a platform where you can resell shoes. So you'll buy a shoe, let's say for retail $150, and the shoe's going for $500. You can go on that platform, StockX, sell it on there. They'll charge you like a 10 to 15% fee, and then you keep the rest of the money. So they'll take like a $50, $60 cut if it's a $500 shoe, and then you get to keep the rest. So when the shoes come in, that's when StockX has to check if they're real or not. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky, where some people selling fakes or selling fake shoes. Wherever they got the shoes from, that's their business. But the reason why Nike called them out is because StockX, like a consumer, let's say I go on the app and I buy the shoe that I want, it comes in and it's fake. So that's been happening a little bit more lately, as of late. And then Nike called out, but Nike's always had beef with StockX for reselling because they're a resale platform, and retailers don't like. They want the consumer to be happy and benefit the consumer 100%. So a lot of these retail or not of these big name brands companies don't like StockX because they resell. But recently, a couple of days ago, StockX posted a troll video of showing how they authenticate shoes. I'll put it on here. So I can maybe see a little clip of the video, but they showed someone checking a Jordan 1, and when I saw it, I was like, it didn't sell me on. I wanted to go buy a pair of shoes. Like, it wasn't convincing to me. It seemed real. I thought it was they posted a video to troll Nike, like, hey, this is what we do. This is a real shoe, trying to rub it in their face kind of thing. But like from when I saw the video, I was just like, this is, it wasn't appealing to me, where it wasn't like convincing to me, like, oh, they sell real shoes now. So I don't think they won in that situation. But they have them and Nike and StockX have this whole beef together because StockX dropped Nike NFTs or Nike shoe NFTs. So it's just, if you don't know what an NFT is I know I'm not big on NFTs either, so I'm not an expert or anything like that. But it's something that is digital, is not physical. So you have this, you have the rights to a certain let's say, picture or video, and it's yours, but you can share it and things like that. So what StockX did, they just got a pair of, let's say, Chunky Dunky SBs, and they made it virtual, and they sold it as an NFT. Nike was not okay with that because StockX didn't get permission from Nike, or they didn't work together to make this collaboration. So StockX was over here selling fake, not, I guess they're real NFTs, but they weren't copyrighted or anything from Nike. So that's what they say was where the beef started. And then from then on, Nike's just, I guess, being petty and calling them out, saying that they sell fake sneakers and different things like that. So they've been going back and forth for the last couple of weeks or a month or so. So it's interesting where it's going to go, where it's going to take off. I don't think StockX will get shut down for whatever reason. I doubt it. They're such a big company now that it's just, they're almost impossible to stop unless something crazy happens where they have been selling fake shoes this whole entire time. So we'll see what the future holds and what Nike's going to do to stop these resellers or stop these aftermarket platforms to stop reselling their shoes. So hopefully Nike figured out a way, either make more shoes or stop having shoes that are limited all the time and different things like that, so people don't have to go and resell. People that love the shoes like me but aren't always able to buy them or always able to find them, and then going and having to buy 5 to 10 times more what retail was. So we'll see what happens on that. But that's just a quick update about what's going on. It was, I told you, it's a little bit shorter episode. I wanted just to bring up these topics with the new movies I've been watching, and this little debate on sneakers and what's going to happen in the future. But like I said, next episode, I'm going to have a surprise guest. We're going to go over a list that Rolling Stone released, stating the top 200 hip hop albums that ever came out. So like the best of the best throughout all years of all these last 20, 30 years, the top 200 hip hop albums. So it's going to be pretty interesting. I've seen the list already. If you want to go check it out on Rolling Stone, I recommend go look at it just to see what you think, what's your opinion. And then we're going to go on here. We're going to debate it. We're going to discuss it. And then we'll leave it up to y'all. If you think we're right, we're wrong, what we like, what we didn't like, what should have been ranked higher, what should have been ranked lower, things like that. So we can't wait to see you for the next episode. But thank you for tuning in to another episode of In the Streets podcast, where we go everything sports, music, movies, fashion, nightlife, and the culture. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.